This year, I've made over $507,000 in my coaching business. The majority of that income came from running simple ads like these that attract high quality coaching clients who pay me $5K, $10K, $15K or more. For the right coach at the right time, there's no better way to scale. But running ads isn't easy. If you're a coach who's ready for more clients and you're curious about running ads, I wanted to share a deep dive training from a recent masterclass I ran where I broke down my exact paid traffic strategy in detail and show you exactly how I scaled my coaching business past multiple six figures so you can do it too. Also super important that there are a number of other pieces you've got to have in place in your business. It's not just about the ads. You got to have a great offer. You got to know how to enroll new clients, a good audience. All these things are super important too. And so if you're looking for clarity on how to make sure you've got those pieces in place so you can get clients consistently month after month as a coach, I put together a free client attraction guide you're definitely going to want to check out that walks through my best advice on this. All you got to do is click the link above or in the description down below to go download that right now. Masterclass is all about paid traffic, which is how do you actually scale past multiple six figures as a coach using something like this and not just make more money, but also one of the things I'm really excited about sharing with you today, and we'll talk more about this later on, is how do you do this with consistency and stability? One of the biggest things that I hear from coaches is, it's up and down. It's like 1 month is really good. 1 month isn't so good. Like leads come in the door 1 month, other months, it's like I'm trying to figure out where the next client is going to come. And one of the biggest things that has created more consistency in my business has been paid traffic. And so we're going to talk about how to create that consistency, how to sign more clients, and how to scale past multiple six figures using paid traffic. And I'm so excited to share this with you because this has been something that has been such a game changer for me in my business. And one of the things I try to do as a business coach is to share the things that I know work, the things that I've been able to implement personally that have really changed the game for me. And when I look back over the course of my business the past few years, and I've been coaching since 2016, there's been nothing more impactful than paid traffic. And this is one of the reasons I've been so excited to share this, because it's been such a needle mover for me in my own business. So a little bit of context on this. Back in 2021, I was in the early days of launching my business coaching business and growing my business coaching business. I had been coaching in another niche and had spent some time as a director of sales and then became a business coach. And so I was in the early days of growing this business. And at that stage in my journey, I was marketing probably the way that most people here are marketing, which is what we call organic marketing. And I consider organic marketing anything that you do for free in order to market your business. So this would be things like posting on social media, or for me, I was doing a lot of outreach. I was sending like DMs. So you probably get like 6 of these DMs a week from business coaches. I was connecting with people through Facebook Messenger, and I was doing a lot of outreach, and I was posting on mostly Facebook, and I was making, 5 to 10K a month. So I was not completely new and not, just at the ground floor of my business, but I was tired. And the reason I was tired was I was chained to social media all day. And I was spending hours every day DMing people and doing outreach and posting. And I felt like I couldn't take any time off, because if I stopped working, the results would stop working too. In other words, if I didn't show up on social media every day and DM the 25 people that I was supposed to DM that day, or create a new piece of content, the leads would stop flowing. And even, after all of this hard work, like things were still kind of inconsistent for me. Like I had good months and I had bad months, and it was very rocky and it was kind of a bumpy ride. And so this is where I was back in 2021. And I knew that there was a better way, but I wasn't entirely sure kind of how to shift that and how to change that. And so zooming forward to 2022, I was working with a business coach at the time who recommended that I start getting up and running with paid traffic. He was like, I think this is the right time for you. And, I had tried running some ads and doing paid traffic in the past before. And by the way, when I say paid traffic, I really mean running ads, using things like Facebook ads or Instagram ads, paid traffic, running ads. I'll use them synonymously in this masterclass today. But I had tried running ads before in the past, and they didn't really work for me. And so I was skeptical, and I didn't have some great experiences, in the past. And even though I was skeptical and I wasn't really sure about this, I really trusted this coach that I was working with. And so I decided to really go all in on launching with ads. And so May of 2022, I launched paid traffic. I started on Facebook ads, and that May I made around $6,000 in my coaching business. $6,319 was the exact number. And by that December, about 6 months later, I had made $64,935 in that 1 month in December. So massive growth in a very short period of time. And zooming forward to 2023 and 2024, that has continued. So 2023 will hit $650,000 in revenue. 2024 will be our first $1 million year. And so the growth has been astronomical and in such a short period of time. And 90% of that has really come from paid traffic. And not only has that allowed me to make more money than I ever have as a coach and to serve so many more people, but also it's created more stability and consistency in my business. And so I wanted to share this with you. This is our ads tracker, and you don't need to know all the details about what these numbers mean. Maybe it's a little bit overwhelming looking at this, but this is for September. So this actually shows, what our numbers were in September in our ads. And you can see here, down at the bottom, this is probably the most important thing is how much we spent on ads. This is just Facebook ads. We also run on YouTube ads. So in September 2023, we spent about $13,000 on ads in total, and we made about $41,000. So that's a 324% return in September. And, month to month, that varies a little bit, but that's pretty average in terms of, it might be like a better month for us in ads, but pretty average. The most important thing I want to share with you here, at least for this, is if you look at this column here, this is the number of leads that are coming into our business day after day. And these are actually email subscribers. These are new people who are signing up for our email list. And you can see day after day after day, 68 people, 74 people, 71. So this is a consistent flow of new people who are coming into our email list. And many of you here, by the way, originally came from ads. So these are people who, are showing up for my masterclasses and people like, amazing people like you. And this is really what paid traffic has done for me and my business, is created that consistency, that consistent flow of new people coming into my business, regardless of whether I'm on social media or not. So I don't have to post every single day. I don't have to constantly be creating content every single day. I don't have to be in the DMs every single day. It's really given me that freedom from social media. And that's why I'm so excited to share this with you. Now, one of the things I love telling my clients is, this picture here, a couple months ago, I actually got rid of my iPhone as a result of really implementing this. There's nothing I hate more than being like chained to my phone all day. And when I was doing 100% organic marketing, I really got like very addicted to social media. And so I was checking my phone like 200 times a day, and it was pulling me away from really being present with my partner, Kimberly, and the people that I really love. And as a result of implementing paid traffic, I've been able to get rid of my iPhone. So a couple months ago, I actually traded it in for this thing, which looks like it's like a phone built from 1999. They call it a dumb phone. And this thing basically does cell phone, it does text messages, and it does maps. And the maps are not very good, full transparency. So if you're thinking about getting one of these, I'd probably recommend like a Garmin. But this has been a result of integrating what I'm about to share with you today. It's really given me true freedom, which to me means freedom to be out of my business when I don't want to be working, freedom to enjoy life, to be present with the people that I love, to travel, to be able to not be constantly on call. All of this has been a result of paid traffic. And one of the reasons I'm so excited to share this with you today. What are we going to cover inside our training? Number one, I'll be sharing with you the 2 currencies for scale. So this is actually a really important concept. When I started to understand this is what enabled me to go from making 5 to 10K a month as a coach to 50, 60, 70K plus months consistently month after month, when I really understood this piece that I'll be sharing with you. I'll also be sharing with you how to know whether or not paid traffic is right for you. So there are coaches here who are, here with me live. So cool. Over 100 of you here. And I'm so excited to be hanging out with you today. Some of you, this might not be right for at this stage in your journey. And I want to be really transparent with you about this, because the right strategy at the wrong time can cause a lot of harm in your business. So we're going to be talking about how to know whether or not this paid traffic thing is right for you and when the right time is to actually implement it. Also be talking about the 5 biggest mindset blocks that stop so many coaches from successfully scaling with paid ads. These are blocks that held me back, almost every single one of them. And I waited on this for years because I had some of these internal blocks and barriers that were holding me back from really getting started with paid traffic. And finally, really excited to share this with you. I'll be breaking down my exact paid traffic strategy that I'm using today in my business that we've been able to use to scale past multiple 6 figures. So if you're wondering, like, what does this all look like in terms of your business? Like people talk about funnels, like what's the funnel? Like, what is it? Okay, what does this look like in your business, Jason? I'll be sharing that with you, and you can literally take that and run with that in your business and start doing this too. And then finally, we'll be talking about an invitation. So I have something I'm here to sell you as well, full transparency. I'm not just here out of the goodness of my heart. We have a brand new group coaching program called Limitless Leads that we're actually launching today. For those of you who are here who want more help implementing paid traffic and getting up and running with paid traffic in your business, there'll be an offer at the end, and we'll talk more about how we might be able to help you with that. And then finally, we're going to finish things out with some Q&A where you can get answers to any questions that might come up for you during the course of this masterclass, as well as just anything you're wondering about in your business. We'll do some live coaching, and we're going to bring on our head of client success, Emily Deeney, who's amazing coach, who's also going to help us with that. We'll be back to this training in just a second, but before we get there, if you're enjoying this, click the like button down below and let me know. Now, if you're new to my world, maybe you haven't seen any of our other master classes, or you just signed up to our email list a couple days ago from an ad or something like that, I wanted to quickly introduce myself. My name is Jason Moss. I'm a business coach. I help coaches get clients. This is all that we do in our business. We've got various different programs and ways that we do that. But really, every single day, my job is to help coaches like you, coaches who have something important to share with the world, have something that they can give and offer, and transformations to make and lives to change, and are feeling stuck or held back by the marketing side of their business. Everything that we do is really to help coaches like that overcome those challenges so that you can wake up every day and do the work that you're here to do. I believe that every single person here has something so important to share. If you're here, you've got medicine, you've got healing, you've got teaching, you've got something that the world needs. And if we can help you just figure out the marketing side of what you're doing so that no longer holds you back, that means that you get to wake up every day and change lives and get paid and make really great money to transform lives and do the work that you're here to do. And that is why we're here. That is why I run these trainings. That is why we have programs and offers to be able to help you. At this point, we've helped thousands of coaches, and everything that I do and what I believe in terms of our unique approach and what makes us different is we take a heart-centered approach to marketing. I think there's so much out there in terms of growing a coaching business. One of the things that always really bothered me, as a coach who was in the early days and growing my business was, I would go into these programs and I learned from these mentors, and sometimes the way that they were teaching just really didn't feel aligned for me. It was like, go out and, spam like 800 people a day with your offer, do some like sleazy sales thing. And so much of that stuff didn't feel right to me. I wanted to show up in a way that felt authentic for me and in a way that felt aligned. And I wanted to make a lot of money and make a big impact, but I didn't want to become some like used car salesman or some like sleazy internet marketer in order to do it. And so everything that we teach is really in line with those deeper principles of this is about serving people. This is about making an impact. This is about doing this in a way that feels authentic and aligned for you so you can make great money as a coach, but also do it in a way that feels good. It doesn't involve you becoming someone that you're not. So let's talk about the two currencies for scale. This is something that really is such a foundational idea. When I started to understand this, again, this is what allowed me to go from making, 5 to 10K a month as a coach to 60, 70K months consistently, this fundamental principle. So when it comes to growing your coaching business, there are so many different strategies you can use. Every business coach has got like a different thing. You've probably seen them online. It's like you can do DMs and you can do outreach and you can do Facebook posts and you can do Instagram and TikTok and you can do all these different things. There's like 50 different things plus you can do to get clients and grow your business. The truth is all of them work. Like they're all good. But if we zoom out one level from that, we look at all those different ways to get clients, to grow your business, really what you're actually doing on a deeper level is you're trading something that you have for something that you want. And in this case, what you want is attention. The first step to growing your business, to getting more clients, to getting people to actually notice you is you got to get people's attention. And so that really marketing is nothing more than the act of getting lots and lots of people to pay attention to you. And how do you do that? Well, you trade something that you have for that attention. You trade a currency that you have, something that is within your hold, within your grasp for that attention. That's how you grow a business. That's how you market yourself. So what do you actually trade for that attention? Well, there are these two currencies. The first one, and this is the one that you're probably familiar with because most people here are using this, is time. The first currency that we have as coaches is time. We all have a certain number of hours in the day. And whenever you choose to take that time and trade it for something that's ultimately going to get you attention in your business, this is what you're doing. You're trading time for attention. So when you sit down and you write a Facebook post, or when you go DM a bunch of people on social media, this is you trading your time for attention. That's what we're doing. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. There are pros and cons to that. We'll talk about those in a second. But this is the first currency you have in your coaching business. The second one, the one that most people here aren't using, I think many people here could be using a lot more effectively or just using at all, is money. This is when you trade your money for attention. It's really simple. And so we've got these two currencies. Most people here are just using one of them. And my argument to most of you here who this is a good fit for, and not everybody here, should be trading their time for attention. Maybe you're not ready for that yet, but for the right coach at the right time, trading money for attention is how you scale. Time is only going to get you to a certain point. You can't trade, we'll talk about this in a second, actually. Probably easier to do this on the next page. So let's talk about trading time for attention. This is what I think of as the employee mindset. If you're working at a 9-to-5 job, you show up to work for somebody else, and basically what you do is you trade your time for money. You go to a job and you work 40 hours a week and they give you a paycheck. And so most people are very good about thinking about trading their time for attention, because it's very similar to how they think of trading time for money if you're working for somebody else. And this is how employees think. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no judgment here. I'm just saying this is kind of the employee mindset. Trading time for something that we want. The pros to this, and there are a lot of pros. Number one is it's free. Probably the biggest thing is it doesn't take any money to do this. So you can get started without necessarily having any money in the bank. You got a certain amount of time that you can trade for attention. You can start creating content. You can start, having conversations, showing up, creating lots of content. This is a great way of doing this. It's also the best way to get started. So a lot of you here are my Coaching Launchpad clients, people who are in our foundations program for new coaches. And if you're here, you might be asking yourself, well, Jason, you're teaching me to trade time for attention. Inside Coaching Launchpad, this is what we teach you how to do. And the reason we do this is because it's the absolute best way to get started. Because when you're in the new early stages as a coach, you're trying to figure out things like your niche and your message and your offer. Trading time for attention is the absolute best thing to do, because every single time you go out there and you create a piece of content or you have a conversation with someone, that takes a lot of time, but you're also learning throughout that process. You're starting to understand what resonates with people and what doesn't. Hey, when I have this conversation with someone, even though it takes a bit of my time, I can start to understand this person on a deeper level and what my niche actually wants and what offers they're going to be interested in. And this is why starting with time is really the best thing to do. If you're a new coach, you're in the early days of your business. What are the cons of this approach? Well, there are a lot of them. Probably the biggest one is that it ties you to your business. When all you're doing is trading time for attention, you essentially become an employee in your business. A lot of coaches I talk to who are making the transition out of a 9-to-5 into coaching, that's what they really want. It's like, I want more than anything to be my own boss, because I don't want to be beholden to somebody else's schedule. I want to have freedom. I want to be able to set my own hours and be my own boss and work when I want. And a lot of coaches have this idea that running their own business is going to be that. And then they step into running their own business and I'm like, crap, I just created another job for myself. I thought I was getting away from this. And now I'm back where I started. So when all you're doing is you're trading time for attention, you've essentially stepped back into being an employee in your own business, which means no freedom. It's not what a lot of people want. The other downside to this is that all of us have a limited amount of time available. So the difference between you and me is not that we have more time. You and I both have 24 hours in a day. And so what starts to happen is when you're looking at growing a business using your time, that starts to work up until a certain point, but then it very quickly breaks down. Because you look at, okay, well, maybe if I'm creating one piece of content on Instagram a day, well, if I want more clients, I could create 2 pieces of content. And okay, spend a couple more hours there and maybe I could DM people and I could do that. And then suddenly I'm spending like 5 hours a day in content creation. Well, if I'm spending 5 hours a day, I could do 10 hours a day and I could get even more leads. And then suddenly you're burned out and you're exhausted. And this is what happens. I see a lot of coaches get to this place where it's like they hit this bottleneck because the only currency that they're using to grow their business is time. This is what happens when you're caught in this trap. Now, on the other hand, we have money. This is the other currency you can use to grow your business. And really, when you're using money to grow your business, you're thinking like an investor. So the question the investor asks is very simple, which is, how can I use my money to make more money? That's essentially what it means to be an investor. If I have $5, how can I spend that $5 to turn it into $10? This is the mindset of an investor. And what I love about thinking like an investor when it comes to growing your coaching business is, number one, probably the biggest thing is there's infinite scale. Theoretically, we all have, I know you don't have infinite amounts of money in the bank today. You have a finite amount of money, but the amount of money that you can make is infinite. So there's no cap. Even though you only have 24 hours in a day, you have infinite money, which means you can theoretically scale infinitely using this approach. If you can find a way to take $1 and turn it into $2, or you could take $2 and turn it into $4, $4 to turn it into $8, this is how you really scale a business. It also unchains you from your business because your money can work for you even when you're not working. So this is why, personally, I've been able to take more time off than ever this past year, and we're making more money than we ever have before. It's not magic. It's not because I'm some special human being. It's just because I'm leveraging this currency in my business, which has unchained me from the business. It's also given me personally, and it will give you a lot more consistency and true time freedom. We talk about like, how do you actually escape from being an employee in your business? You can still do all the things that you want to do. You can still serve clients. You can still coach. You can still do all the things that you want to do, but there's no sense of obligation. It's not like I need to do this in order to market myself. If I don't show up in this way, then that means that I'm not going to get clients. So we've kind of broken free from that trap. This is what trading money for attention allows you to do. And this is really what paid traffic is all about. As you're listening to this, many people probably listening are like, great, this sounds awesome. This sounds like the holy grail, Jason. My response to you is yes, and it's not for everyone. I think that the right strategy at the wrong time can be very dangerous in your business. And I want to caution you around that, because especially when you get on master classes like this with people who just want to sell you something, it's like, if I'm trying to sell you some paid traffic program, there's a tendency, I always have that thing that I got to fight within me to want to make it sound like that paid traffic thing is like the holy grail for everyone. When the truth is, if I'm being very honest with you and direct with you, there's a time and place for paid traffic as a coach, and it's not right for everyone who's here. So who is this for? When is paid traffic right for you? The first thing is you got to know your niche. You got to have a clear group of people that you're already clear that you want to help. If you're not there yet, then this is not for you yet. Go join our Coaching Launchpad program. We'll help you figure this out. This does not mean you have to be like 100% sure that you've got like the exact perfect niche. But it's like, if you know your people, this is a pretty important step that you need to have in place first. You've also got to have a high ticket offer that's already selling. When I say high ticket, what I mean is something that's at least, $2,000, I would say, or more. Maybe $1,500 more you could probably get away with. Generally, high ticket is going to be the best way to go for paid traffic. If you're selling like one-off sessions or things like that, if that's your core offer, probably not going to do that well with paid traffic. And when I say a high ticket offer that's selling, I mean that you've sold it at least a couple times. Like, you've got proof of concept that you can convince a stranger who doesn't know you to sign up to work with you. That's pretty important before we start scaling with paid traffic. Also, that you've had some level of success with organic. And when I say organic, what I mean is forms of marketing that are basically free, where you're going out there, you're posting on social media. If you haven't signed any clients yet doing this, or you've been trying to do this and it hasn't been working for you, then I don't think paid traffic is right for you at this stage. There's some foundational things that you need to figure out first. Also, this is one that a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh man, $5,000 to invest in ad spend. You need at least $5,000 to be able to invest in ads to start. Now, this is money that you're going to get back. I mean, for every dollar that I spend in ads today, we make about $2.50 back. So in other words, I invest $5,000, I'm going to make $12,000 or something like that back in terms of new clients. But you need some cash up front to be able to invest in those ads to begin with. Now, who is this not for? If you don't know your niche, we talked about that. If your offer isn't selling, paid traffic, not the right thing for you. If your messaging isn't working via organic yet. A lot of coaches come to me, they're like, I hear this a lot in our foundations program, Coaching Launchpad, when we're getting up and running with organic marketing. There's a period of time where, we're trying things, we're figuring things out. Sometimes things don't work right away. And oftentimes I hear the question, well, like, Jason, I see that you're running ads. Why can't I run ads at this stage of my journey? You can do whatever you want. I'm not telling you not to do it, but really what I think of paid traffic is as it's a multiplier. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire. And if you don't have a little bit of a fire going already, there's something deeper going on. If you can't get a couple clients, at least through organic marketing, there's something else going on in your business that we need to address first. And I see a lot of coaches skip to paid traffic because they think this is going to be like the holy grail when they don't have these pieces in place. And Facebook will gladly take your money. I've seen a lot of coaches out there who come to me, they're like, I just spent $1,000 on Facebook ads and I got like 2 leads. Like, what happened? And the truth is they were just missing some of those foundational things. They were jumping to paid traffic too early. So this is really important. Also, if you're not selling a high ticket, we talked about this. Also, if you're very tight financially, paid traffic probably not going to be the right fit for you. You need to be able to, with paid traffic, I think one of the biggest keys is you need to be able to broaden your time horizon a bit. And this is one of the biggest keys that I've learned, when it comes to growing a coaching business. When I was in the early days of my coaching business, I wasn't making much money. I was very focused on like short term. It's like, how do I do the thing that's going to get me the client tomorrow or next week or this month. And then as I started scaling, it was like, well, how do I invest in something that's going to help me build the foundation so I can get clients like 3 months or 6 months or a year down the line? And this is really the mindset of paid traffic. It's thinking like an investor. Just like if you invest money in the stock market, it's the difference between being like a day trader. If you're a day trader, you just show up to try to invest to make a little bit more than you put in today, versus the long-term investor, the person who's saying, okay, how do I invest in the stock that's going to grow over years? This is the mindset of paid traffic. So you need enough financial stability to be able to broaden your time horizon. Otherwise, you're just going to get stressed, and you're going to turn off your ads too early, and you're not going to end up succeeding. Now, one other question people often ask is like, when's the right time to do this? And maybe why now in terms of paid traffic? The truth is there's so much instability in our world right now, so much craziness going on right now. And I feel it too. I mean, a lot going on between the economy. We got all these wars happening. And generally, like when there's a lot of instability, a lot of people go, okay, well, now's not the best time to invest in anything. I need to do what I know works. I need to double down on the predictable, the safe thing. Even if the thing that I've been doing right now hasn't been particularly effective, let me just do more of what I'm currently doing, because the idea of trying something new or taking a risk feels a little bit edgier and scarier right now. And I get that. I also feel that as a human being. I think we're all kind of navigating the messiness of the world and what's happening right now together. But there's a couple of reasons I fundamentally believe in my heart that now is probably one of the best times, at least in the next few years, to be able to integrate paid traffic into your business. And for the right coaches here, and not every coach who's here is going to have the courage to do that. Just be very transparent. Like there's some people here who are not going to have that the courage that it takes to kind of leap into the unknown and try something new. And for some of you here who, you're that coach at that right stage in your journey, you do develop that courage and faith to take that leap and to try that new thing. It's going to be a massive multiplier in your business. The first thing that I want to share with you here is something that's just a truth. Like this is, if you look at the data, the last few years, organic reach has continually been declining year over year on every social media platform. What this means is if you post something today on Facebook or on Instagram, compared to you post the same thing a year ago at the same time, it's going to get on average 32% less people actually seeing it. So year over year, organic reach is dropping by 32% on average. What that means is in order for you to just get the same amount of visibility that you got last year on social media, you need more and more content, and your content needs to be better and better. And the bar just continues to go up. So if many of you are here who have been running your coaching business for a while and you're like, man, it feels like it's harder than it was like a couple of years ago. It feels like things are more difficult. Like I feel like I was getting more traction initially, and now it seems like I'm having a harder time getting visibility on these platforms. And you're not alone. This is just the reality of what's happening. It's becoming harder to get reach, organic reach, we're talking specifically. And so knowing that to be true, I think the smartest coaches out there are looking at that and they're saying, look, I can play the organic game. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with organic. This is putting me on a hamster wheel that it's like the wheel is spinning faster and faster and faster every single year. And I can either try to run faster and faster and faster just to keep up, or I can get off the wheel. And personally, for me, I'd rather get off the wheel and find a better wheel. That's not to say that organic is not a good strategy. We still teach organic marketing, and I still use organic marketing in my business. It's just there are other things that we're doing as well to complement that, and paid traffic is one of them. The other thing I think is really important, this was something I learned back in high school. So I was a singer-songwriter in high school, and I played around my town and play guitar and sing, and I played all these shows, and I was known as like the singer-songwriter kid in my high school. And I had built this big audience of people who were following me on MySpace, because that was like the big platform at the time. And so I spent like hours every single day on MySpace, like adding people as friends and DMing with people and building this audience of people who were interested in my music. And then MySpace evaporated. And it seemed like it happened overnight. I don't know about you, but if you remember MySpace, it was like one day it was here and the other day it was not. And then it was like Facebook. And now it's, Instagram and TikTok and things are always changing. And the rate of change is getting faster, right? So these platforms are coming and going, and who knows what's going to happen down the line. There's so much uncertainty we look at like TikTok and what's happening, at least in the US with our government. There's been a lot of conversation about whether or not TikTok is going to get banned. This could literally be like, if you've got an audience on TikTok, it could be banned tomorrow. And suddenly you have no access to your audience. So I think as a business owner, one of the things I think about when it comes to growing my business is how do I minimize risk? How do I avoid the possibility that I lose access to my audience, which is like the most important asset we have in our business, the connections that we have to the people that we're here to serve. And for me, having an email list is one of the best ways that I do that, because having an email list in my business means that I have a direct line of communication with all of you. And so if we're connected on Facebook and then suddenly Meta disappears or they go bankrupt or something happens and then we lose access to Facebook, that doesn't mean that I lose access to that connection that I have with you. And we can still communicate and I can still run a business that way. And when it comes to paid traffic, bringing this back to paid traffic itself, there's no better way to build an email list than with paid traffic. It's really easy to do with paid traffic. It's much harder to do when you're trying to build an email list on social media, because social media platforms, all they want to do is keep people on the platform. That's Facebook's game. That's Instagram's game. They don't want to send people to your email list. They want to keep them scrolling as long as possible so they can show them more ads. So when you're trying to bring all these people over to join your email list, you're competing against the goals of these platforms, which makes it's very difficult to do that. Versus when you're running ads, it's so much easier to build an email list. So all this being said, best way to build an email list and to minimize your risk as a business owner. And one of the other things that I think, a lot of people are worried about right now is like, hey, it seems like we're kind of headed for a potential recession. I think that's probably likely. Like in the next 6 months, 12 months, we'll probably have a mild recession. I don't think it's going to be crazy. I don't think it's going to be anything near what we experienced in 2008, but I do think we're headed for an economic contraction. That's just all signs are pointing towards that. Here's what happens during recessions. Most big companies cut their ad spend. So you look at like Hershey's and, Apple and all these big companies. And what they do is they cut their ad spend. And what that means is that paid traffic gets cheaper for you and me. It means that it becomes cheaper to acquire new leads in your business. Now, I think those leads are going to get a little bit harder to convert. And that's just the truth for all of us in terms of the next year, kind of where we're headed. Now, that's whether or not you're using organic or paid, it doesn't really matter. There's going to be more opportunity than ever in paid traffic particular, because all these companies are going to cut their ad spends. And because that's going to make leads cheaper. This is why personally in our business, we're planning on doubling our ad spend over the next 12 months, because we see the opportunity and we want to take advantage of it. All this being said, I think that right now we're kind of in this interesting moment in time where I think that for the right coach at the right time, I don't think that there's any better opportunity than paid traffic. This is not for everyone, but I think if you're here, this is the right time for you. You're able to kind of develop that inner sense of courage to like take a leap. I absolutely think this can be one of the best multipliers for you at this stage of your journey. But when I look back over my own journey with paid traffic, the truth is I'd known this for years, and I'd known that paid traffic was, a smart thing to do. And for years I didn't do it. And for years I was held back. And when I look at what held me back, it wasn't that I didn't understand the strategy or, I could have figured out how to do it. It's not actually that hard to run ads. That's honestly one of the limiting beliefs that people typically have around paid traffic. But I just had some really big mindset blocks that were holding me back and standing in my way. So what I want to share with you next is let's talk about these mindset blocks, 5 of the biggest blocks that I think hold so many coaches back from implementing paid traffic. And my hope is by sharing these with you that you'll be able to see, okay, maybe I got 1 or 2 of these blocks, and that you can overcome these blocks so that they don't stand in your way. So number 1 block, probably the biggest thing I see, and I was also in this camp, the I tried ads and they don't work block. How many people, by the way, I'm curious, share in the chat, how many people have tried ads before and maybe didn't get great results? And so they have this belief of like, ads don't work. Facebook ads don't work. YouTube ads don't work. Ads just aren't effective for me. I also believe this, by the way, because I had run ads in the past and they weren't effective. And so when my business coach back in 2022 was like, hey, run ads, I was like, I don't know. I haven't had great results in the past. Maybe this can be more of the same. Here's what I've learned, because I've talked with a lot of coaches who have run ads. Oftentimes they come to me because they didn't work and they're like, Jason, I don't know what to do. And I ask them, well, tell me a little bit more about how you actually did that. And here's what 99% of them say. Number 1 is I wasn't really sure what my niche was or my offer was, or I was kind of in the early stage of my business. Things were kind of unclear. I didn't really know what my messaging was. And I just kind of like threw up an ad and I didn't really have any strategy behind it. I was just kind of like testing and experimenting. And I didn't really have, any intentionality behind how I was doing that. Or maybe I like hired somebody else to do it for me and I didn't really understand it. So I thought like somebody else was just going to solve the problem for me. And then I ran them for a little bit and they weren't profitable right away. And so I got scared and I turned them off. This is, by the way, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here. This is what I did. So I ran them for a couple of weeks and I was like, oh, this isn't working. And I turned them off. So here's the thing about paid traffic. Number one, we talked about this earlier. Like, you got to have some of those foundations in place first. Number two, this is not something that you just like wing. It really does take a strategy, and it takes intentionality, and it's something that you commit to. And it's going to take a little bit of time and experimentation. And some people get results, quickly. And some people, it does take a little tweaking to try to figure out what's going to work and what isn't. But you really got to have that like long-term commitment in play. Otherwise, you show up, you don't get results right away, you turn things off. That's the same thing with other forms of marketing. I share this with a lot of our Coaching Launchpad clients. It's like, hey, if you just start posting on social media, you're not going to get clients like a week and a half later. It's going to take some time to dial things in. So that long-term view is really important. And also having a real strategy behind how you're doing this. This is not something you just like throw up an ad on Facebook and expect it's going to be profitable. There's a whole system that's involved in making this work, including what happens on the back end. Like, once people come in the door, it's not just the ad, it's also like, what's the back end that you have to warm those people up and nurture them. And that's really important as well. So for me, like when I look back over how I was running ads initially, the reason why I was like, oh, ads don't work, I had no support. I was just kind of trying to figure things out on my own. I was too short-term in my focus. And so I kind of tried and it wasn't working right away. I turned it off. And that was why I wasn't getting results. So the truth is, ads can absolutely work pretty much for every niche. And when I look at my own business in particular, they've been probably like the most profitable, if not the most profitable thing that we've ever done in our business. We've seen so many coaches create awesome results with paid traffic, but it does take that long-term commitment. Number two, ads are too expensive. I hear this a lot. Ads are too expensive. Well, why would I pay for ads when I can just, do the organic thing for free? And I also felt this way. Here's how I think about ads today is, we spend probably around 20 grand a month on paid traffic in our business. And if I was thinking about that just in terms of that number, like, you might hear that and you go, wow, that sounds like a lot of money, Jason. This is the difference between thinking about things as an employee versus an investor. As an investor, I don't really care how much ads cost. I don't care how much our leads cost. I don't care how much we're spending on ads. The only question that matters to me is how much are we making in return? And because I know today in our business, every dollar that we spend on ads, we make at least $2.50 back on average, I'll gladly spend more. Because it's like having a money printer in my business. This is why we're continuing to raise month after month our ad spend, because as long as we're making more money than we're spending on ads, there's no reason why not to spend more. So I see a lot of coaches who are so focused on that front end number. It's like, I don't want to spend thousands of dollars on ads, but what they miss is like, if you're going to spend that money, the only question that's important is like, what are you making back? As long as you can make back more than what you're spending, then it's like having a money printer in your business. In other words, literally, you have a system in your business where you can give in $1 and you can get back $2 or $3 or $4. It's pretty helpful in terms of growing and scaling your business. So I don't think ads are too expensive. I actually think ads are probably one of the best investments I've ever made personally. I mean, I see a lot of coaches too. It's like, ads are too expensive, but every month they're investing in their 401k or their retirement account. By the way, if you invest in that, and I don't think that's a bad thing to do, but we just look at like the returns on that, you might make 5 to 10% a year on average in the stock market, versus if you invest that same dollar into paid traffic, you can make 250% over the course of 3 months or 6 months. A lot of people are like, they don't think about that. And I didn't think about that before I started with paid traffic, because conventional financial advice doesn't apply to entrepreneurs, because 99% of people out there don't run their own business. They're not like you. They don't have access to that investment. So when Dave Ramsey and all these financial people who are doing great work, I'm not saying that they don't have valuable advice, but their advice applies to 99%. Doesn't apply to the 1% of people who are here in this room. So when they say go invest your money into the stock market, that makes sense for most people. But when you have a business, you have access to a much better way to invest. So why not invest back in your business and make so much more? This is personally what I'm doing. I still invest in the stock market, but most of our cash is being funneled back into the business. It's better to hire someone to do this for me. This is something also that held me back. When I first started with paid traffic, was overwhelmed. And I thought that running ads would be really complicated. And I didn't really know anything about Facebook ads. And so I had someone on my team who I had hired for something else, but she said she knew how to run ads. And so I was like, you know what? Why don't you do this for us? I don't really understand this. I think you'd probably be better at it. And so she spent a couple months getting things set up. Then she launched our ads. And right off the bat, we started bringing in leads for like $30 a lead. And I had no idea whether or not that was good. I was like, okay, seems kind of high, but I don't know. And then I had a conversation with one of my mentors, and he was like, Jason, you really need to learn how to run paid traffic yourself. It's going to be one of the best investments in your time that you can make. It's such a high leverage activity. There's nothing probably that I can do today in my business that's more important than running our ads, other than serving our clients. And so I took his advice and I decided to let her go and learn over the next few months how to run paid traffic myself. Here's what happened. Number one, it was way easier than I thought. I had so many ideas about running ads, and I had so many ideas about, the fact that it would be complicated and that it would, take a bunch of understanding that I didn't have. What I learned was it was actually pretty simple. And number two, the other thing that happened is once I launched my ads, we started generating leads for $5 instead of $30. So 600% cheaper than the person on my team, which is massive, in terms of like the savings there. And why did that happen? Well, the biggest reason for it was because I understood my niche. And so I could write ads better than somebody else who didn't really understand my people. I see so many people, so many coaches out there who outsource their, running ads to somebody else because they think that somebody else can do it better than them. But what you're really outsourcing is like the most important part of your business. And it doesn't make any sense. And looking back, I think it was one of the dumbest decisions I made. I wasted months and so much money rather than just learning how to do it myself. And it was so much easier than I thought. So 99% of the people here, if you're wanting to get up and running with paid traffic, you should learn how to do this yourself. And this is not to say that there isn't a time when this makes sense to outsource, but it's like way further on. Like I still run all of our ads today, and we're close to $1 million in revenue, in revenue this year. So do this yourself. I'm not tech savvy enough. How many people feel this way? I'm not tech savvy enough to run ads. I feel like ads are I'm not like some data scientist. I'm a coach. Like I don't want to be like stuck in spreadsheets all day. I want to coach people. Like my strengths are like transforming lives and helping people. Totally get that. And here's the truth about running paid traffic, especially over the last couple of years. I think if we were having this conversation 5 years or 10 years ago, I'd probably give you a different answer. I'd say, I think it's actually really helpful to have some kind of deeper understanding of, kind of more of the statistics and all that stuff. But over the past few years, all of these platforms have become kind of like a Tesla self-driving car. And so if you've ever gotten in a Tesla, and unfortunately, we can't do this here in the States. It's not fully legal yet. But I remember it when I was visiting my friend over in Rob over in the UK. He's got a Tesla, and I guess in the UK, correct me if I'm wrong. Those of you who are here in the UK from the UK, I guess you can do the self-driving mode like that. It works in the UK. And so we were driving down the freeway one day, and I guess you call it a highway, right? In the UK, and he said, "Watch this," and he pressed this button on the Tesla. And suddenly it was like we were on the highway and the thing was just driving itself. It was crazy. It was like I'd never experienced that before. Running ads is kind of like that today. It's like you give it the ingredients, you give it your ads, you give it some copy, and then you basically press a button and the AI kind of works behind the scenes and it figures out which of those ads are most profitable and where exactly to show your people the ads to your people. And so it's much more automated than it used to be, which means it's easier than ever. And you don't need to understand a bunch of details about, tech and how to, like bury your head in spreadsheets for hours to figure things out. It's helpful to have some basic understanding, but you really don't need that much, which means pretty much everyone here has more than enough capacity to be able to figure this out and understand how to do this. And finally, the last big mindset block that really held me back, honestly, this is probably one of the biggest ones for me, is like, I don't want to come off like every single other person I see on these ads. I'm a pretty like softer. I'm a softer guy. I am not the like, when I would see those ads where it was like, they just felt so shouty and like aggressive. And it was like, you'd click the ad and then you'd be like, it'd send you to a page that was like, sign up for this webinar that's happening in 15 minutes. And we all knew like the webinar was recorded, it was like, why are they lying to me? Like, why why not just be real and tell me it's a recording? But now it's like some ad with all this like, 200 spots left. It's like, come on, it's a recording. Like, don't BS me. And then you go to the recording for the masterclass or the webinar or whatever it was. And then at the end of the thing, it was like, sign up for the thing. And if you don't do it right now, like the price is going up tomorrow. So much like scarcity and all this like aggressive selling. And it would happen like 20 minutes after I clicked the ad. And I was like, I don't even know who you are. And now you're selling me something. It just never felt right to me. And I think for so long, I held off on paid traffic because I didn't want to be like that. And what I learned, what we're doing now, is that you absolutely don't have to run ads like that. We don't have any of those ads in our business. One of the biggest things that I believe in terms of marketing is that marketing is like, it should be like it should mirror the process of human relationships. In other words, if you think of anyone that you love in your life, your partner, your husband, your wife, your best friend, and you think back to the first time that you met that person, chances are you didn't go on a first date with your husband. You spent like a couple hours together and then he was like, you want to get married? That would be weird, right? So why are we doing that in terms of running ads? So many people out there do that. It doesn't feel right to me. So everything that I do and everything that we've set up in our business has been completely different than that. We take a more long-term approach. I would just ask yourself, if you're here, chances are maybe you've been in my world for a couple months. You've probably seen a lot of my content. Maybe some of you who are new to me are here, but a lot of you have been, in our ecosystem for a while. And so everything that I believe and that we've set up in terms of paid traffic has gone against like the prevailing ideas of what people think paid traffic has to be, which means I get to show up as myself. I get to focus on the long term, building authentic, deep connections with every single one of you. I get to give and share and create lots of awesome experiences that help people for free. And we make a shit ton of money. And we've been able to scale, past multiple six figures through paid traffic. And we're very profitable in terms of the ads that we run. And by the way, more profitable than many of the people who are kind of teaching more of that short term, like mindset when it comes to paid traffic. So you don't have to run ads like that. You don't have to look like someone you're not going to want to be. That was very freeing for me when I started to understand that. So which of these mindset blocks is holding you back? I'd love for you to share in the chat. And many of you probably have. I see there's quite a few messages in the chat. I wish I could see it so we could take a look together. But unfortunately, I can't because of the screen. But let us know, like, which of these blocks do you feel like maybe you resonated with most? And I think it's helpful for everyone here to hear that. To know that you're not alone. Like whatever you might be experiencing when it comes to paid traffic, whatever mindsets you might have around paid traffic, there's probably someone else on this call who also understands that, who's also been in that place. Really super normal stuff. And hopefully by hearing some of those things, you're like, okay, I can take a breath. I can start to maybe let go of some of those things and maybe move forward with something that's actually going to be really helpful and beneficial for me in my business. So the last thing I want to share with you here is my multi-six-figure paid traffic strategy. So a lot of you might be thinking, okay, well, great. I've got the foundations in place. How do I do this? Of course, we don't have time to cover like the details of like how to actually set all the ads up and everything. What I want to show you on a high level is basically how we're using paid traffic today in my business. So exactly how I've been able to scale our business past multiple six figures with paid traffic, what it all looks like. And it's actually pretty simple. When I teach marketing, and regardless of whether I, am teaching someone who's just getting started, a new coach who's just working on signing their first client, or someone who's, already at six figures and wanting to scale to multiple six figures, marketing to me is really simple. And we have this concept that I teach called the marketing flywheel. And basically, there are 3 steps to this flywheel. There are 3 things that every marketing plan as a coach, every marketing system needs to have. Every coach needs to have these 3 pieces in their business in order to have success with marketing and getting clients. The first thing is growth, which is you need some way to bring new people into your world. People who don't know you, who could be a good fit for what you do. You need some lever that you can pull in your business in order to do this. That's the first step. Step number 2 is nurture, which is you need a way of building those relationships with those people who are coming in who may not know you very well. And we need some way of warming them up over time. And then number 3 is invite, which is we need a way of laying out the red carpet for the people who are following you, who might be interested in taking that next step and working with you. They're ready. What do they do next? They need to know. And that's what invitations are all about. So those 3 steps, grow, nurture, and invite, are really part of any marketing plan. We use paid traffic in every single one of those areas today in our business. So just a sense of what this looks like. The first step, we talked about growth. We use what's called our growth engine in terms of paid traffic. So we run ads every single day, and those ads basically send people to a landing page where they can download a free guide that we've put together. So just to show you what this looks like, you can see here, this is one of these ads. Many of you who are here probably click this ad, and that's why you're here. So we set up these ads. They're pretty simple, by the way. They don't require any like crazy, graphics editing or video editor or anything like this. This took me probably a couple minutes to write, and it's got a picture of me, and we run these ads on Facebook and Instagram. And so basically, people who don't know me are seeing these ads, and these ads basically pitch a free guide. It's like, hey, if you're a coach, you want help getting clients, click here to download this free guide. It's basically the essence of it. Probably 95% of you who are here on this call, by the way, at some point clicked one of those ads. And then that ad is going to bring you to a landing page that looks like this. The landing page is really simple. Again, I designed this myself. I don't have, a bunch of people on our team who do this for me. It took me 20 minutes to set this up. And this ad comes to this landing page. People click this button to get the guide. Then they put in their contact information and they click that button. That sends them the guide. Actually, let's just do this right now. So I'm going to do that. And then after, they go to a thank you page. And the thank you page says the guide's on its way. It's going to be in your inbox. And then there's a pitch to join our Facebook group. Hey, by the way, we got this other Facebook group. Do you want to join it? Click this button. So people often ask me, they're like, Jason, how did you build a Facebook group with like 16,000 people in it? Well, we did it with paid traffic. And the nice thing is we've got all these awesome people in here now. And many of you who are here probably are in our Facebook group. And so this is another way that we can connect with people. This is the engine that's feeding new people into our business. And again, these ads are running every single day, regardless of whether I'm working or not. We've got a consistent flow of those people coming in. They're joining the email list. They're also joining our Facebook group. So now these people are in our world, and I can start to connect with them over time. Now, you'll notice there's no like webinar. There's no like sales thing that happens like right after you sign up. They're like, here's this offer. I don't believe in that, because I believe that if someone's just getting to know me, I don't want to sell them something right off the bat. I'd rather build that relationship and nurture that relationship over time. And so the next thing that happens is what we call our nurturing ecosystem. And this is where people come into our world and they start seeing more and more of my content and start warming up to me over time. And so this is where we've got our email list, where we're sending out emails. We've got our Facebook group that I just showed you. We've got those retargeting ads that we also set up. We'll show you how to do this inside Limitless Leads, our new program, by the way, where you can actually set up ads to go out to your warm audience, the people who are signing up to your email list, the people who are already in your world, and you can show them ads. And just target those ads to people who already do know you. So many of you have probably seen these ads, like you've been scrolling through social media. You're like, there's Jason again, there's Jason again. And so over time, through all of these pieces of content, I can start to warm people up to me and start to position us as someone who, hey, this is someone worth paying attention to. Someone that could really help you with your business. And so we've got that ecosystem that's going and lots of content that those people are seeing. We've got that growth engine where people are coming into our world, new people every single day. And then the last step is, well, okay, so how do we turn all those people who are following us into clients? Well, this is, what we've set up, we call these conversion events. So every once in a while, we have these events that we create that basically lay out the red carpet for people who are in our audience, who are getting to that place where they're like, yeah, I really want to work with you, Jason. So masterclasses, one of them, big surprise. You're on this masterclass right now. This is one of the things that we do to create new clients, right? So we run masterclasses. We also do paid traffic as part of promoting these masterclasses. So we run ads for these masterclasses, invitations on posts or emails, warm outreach. We do launches and promotions. So lots of different ways that we can tap into our existing audience and create opportunities to basically take those people who are following us and turn them into clients. But on a high level, these three steps, our growth engine, nurturing ecosystem, and conversion events. This is exactly how we've personally been able to scale past multiple six figures. And it's really simple. Doesn't take a lot of tech. Doesn't take like 15 million funnels. It doesn't take, you having like a master's degree in like data science to actually understand how to run this. It's just a couple of simple pieces that we've been able to apply and build in over time. What has this been able to do for me in my business? I think this is a really powerful screenshot I wanted to share with you. This is from our Stripe account. This is not all of the revenue in our business, but I wanted to show you like what has really happened as a result of this. Number one, If you look at that picture on the left, the arrow is when we started with paid traffic in my business. So you can see since then, it's been pretty much straight line up. When I say straight line, it doesn't mean that like every month is the same. You can see there have been bumps and months that are higher and lower, but we've trended month after month. And this, again, has been the direct result of integrating paid traffic. What has that done for me? It's not just making more money. It's also allowed me more freedom. So up on the top right there, this is a video of me in Big Sur. I've been traveling more than ever this past year. Earlier this year, I took a solo trip to Big Sur, and if you've ever been out there, by the way, it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It's right off the coast of California, and I just booked an Airbnb, and I was out there by myself and just hiking through, the mountains up there, and it just being off the grid and being able to do that as a result of this gave me so much of that sense of peace and so much of, just a connection to myself that personally was, for me, what I was looking for. This is also me and my partner, Kimberly, on the bottom right. We've been traveling a lot together as well. We went to Mexico earlier this year in Tulum. And if you've ever been to Mexico, there are these beautiful cenotes. There are these like lakes where you can basically see straight through to the bottom of the water. And we took one of these kayaks out. It was me and her kayaking together. And we're out in the middle of the lake. And suddenly this kayak starts like shifting in the water and it starts like sinking a little bit. And we're like, are we just like terrible at kayaking? Like we're not really moving that fast. Like it doesn't seem like we should be like floating, not sinking. We started pedaling, pushing faster, and we started going underwater little bit by bit. And suddenly the whole the whole kayak flipped, and we were completely submerged. It turns out there's a little stopper in the back of the kayak that you're supposed to put in. I didn't know that. So we took the kayak out and ended up getting flooded with water. Luckily, there was like a Russian lifeguard on the beach who got very excited when he saw us. I think he was wanting somebody to save. And so he jumped into the water and he said, "I'll save you." And he swam out to us and ended up kind of pulling us out of the water. But point being, why am I sharing this? Like this for me is really what running a business is about. It's about the freedom to be off the grid. It's what you do outside of your business. It's being able to go on a vacation without, checking your phone 82 times a day. It's being in a place where you can actually live your life. That's what I want for you. And for me, that's what paid traffic has created in my own life. It's also allowed us to serve so many incredible clients. Many of you are here right now, clients from our Coaching Launchpad program. I just feel there's nothing that makes me more grateful to look at these faces and to know that every single person who comes in through an ad, these are people whose lives are forever going to be changed through the work that we get to do. We get to partner with them to create so much good in not only in their own life, but in the clients that they get to serve through their business. So we get to create this incredible ripple effect together. And all of this has been the result of paid traffic. So many of you who are here, who I never would have had the opportunity to connect with, if not for an ad that you clicked on that brought you into my world. And so all of this has been the result of integrating that piece into my business. So if you're a coach who is listening to this and you're ready for paid traffic, you feel like it's the right time in your business, check the boxes that we talked about earlier. You see the opportunity here. You're wanting to integrate this and implement this in your business heading into the next year. I'd love to invite you to join us inside our new Limitless Leads group coaching program. So excited to announce this today. This has been something, again, I've been working on behind the scenes for months, and it feels surreal to finally get to share this with you. So what is Limitless Leads? This is really a roadmap for coaches designed to give you everything you need to launch, run, and scale past multiple six figures with paid traffic. So you watch this masterclass, we talked about the high level. If you're wanting the how, if it's like, okay, how do I actually do this? How do I set this up in my business? Maybe I've never run paid traffic before. I'm a little bit overwhelmed by the idea of this. Like we literally built this for coaches who don't have experience with paid traffic. That's literally going to walk you step by step through the entire process of getting ads up and running into your business. It's going to be over 12 weeks. It's going to be a live group coaching program. So you're going to get lots of support, mentorship, guidance directly from me. And this is everything that you need. So it's literally like from the ground up, everything from how to build a lead magnet to writing scroll stopping ad copy, creating high converting landing pages, simple text setup, launching, optimizing your ads. every single thing that you need to get ads up and running, to start bringing new leads consistently into your business, start signing clients consistently from paid traffic from the ground floor. And one of the things I'm really excited about too, and I was kind of on the fence about whether or not we were going to include this, but we decided to throw it in at the last minute. So in addition to these live group coaching sessions where we're going to be walking through exactly how to do this step by step, I'm also including unlimited one-on-one tech support with me. So whenever you've got a question, you hit a snag, you want mentorship or guidance or an answer, you literally just shoot me a text and I'll reply. And so it's like having me in your back pocket. It's like literally like having like one of those, what do they call it? Like Jeopardy things, like phone a friend or something like that. Or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has that, like phone a friend. This is like your phone a friend in your coaching business. And so, and by the way, you can use this not just for paid traffic specific questions, but also for any specific questions that you have in your coaching business. So it's literally like having someone in your back pocket who's helped thousands of coaches who can show you the way each step in your coaching journey. Really powerful stuff. I mean, just imagine like what would that create for you over the course of 3 months, just having someone who you could bounce those ideas off when you're not sure what direction to go or something doesn't work, rather than kind of hitting your head against the wall, feeling like you've got answers and you've got that clarity. And this is exactly what I did personally to scale my coaching business by 693% in 2022, to go from 5 to 10K months to 50, 60, 70K months. We're literally walking through, like inside Limitless Leads, exactly how to do that step by step. So it's the same exact roadmap. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited to share this with you, because it's made such a difference for me. It's changed everything. And I want more than anything else to be able to share that with you, to help you too. Who is this for? We talked a little bit about this earlier. Number one, we set up Limitless Leads for coaches who are new to paid traffic. So if you're watching this, you've never run ads before, don't worry. This is designed for you. This is designed to be like a foundations program for coaches who are new to paid traffic. We're going to walk you through like the entire process. Even if you have never run ads before, you're in good hands. We're going to give you lots of support, along the way. So this is not going to be like an overwhelming thing. You'll have support and you'll have mentorship. This is also for coaches who really have those foundations in place. So we talked about having clarity on your niche, having that high ticket offer that's already selling. And when I say already selling, I mean you've sold it at least 3 times. If you don't have these foundations in place, if you're not seeing success with organic yet, then this is just not the right time for you. And I would recommend that you apply to work with us inside our Coach and Launchpad program, and we can help you with those foundations. We can help you get up and running with organic marketing and get to the place where you've got those in place and you're ready for that next step. So we can definitely still help with this. And we've got a whole foundations program, Coach and Launchpad, that's built for new coaches to help them do this. But Limitless Leads is really for coaches who have those foundations in place and are ready to take that next step. Also, you need at least $5,000 to invest in ads. Now, some of you who are listening to this and you're like, yeah, I really want to do this, but I feel like that's a barrier for me. There's so many different ways to get creative. Even if you don't have $5,000 in cash available to invest in paid traffic. For example, we talked about this earlier, like most coaches I talk to, they've got money invested in their retirement. They've got money invested in savings that are invested in the stock market that's earning 5 to 10% a year on average. And right now it's not earning anything at all. I don't know about you, but my stock portfolio has been dropping like crazy the last couple of months. So it makes a lot of sense to cash out those lower yielding investments and to invest in your business where you can get 250% returns. And again, the reason why most people aren't talking about this is because it's not available to most people. Like most people out there do not have a business that they can invest in. But when you do have a business to invest in, investing in yourself is almost always going to yield higher returns than investing in stocks or other things that you have no control over that are basically just designed to just slightly beat inflation. Also, even things like credit. If you've got a credit card, maybe, 20% interest, 25% interest. Yeah, it's kind of high. But if you can take that and make 250% return on that investment, you've paid for the cost of the interest. So this is what when it comes to thinking like an investor, a lot of business owners can think about how do I creatively leverage debt wisely, by the way. I'm not talking about, being irresponsible about this. I'm talking about using this as a resource to help you grow. Now, on the other hand, this is not for coaches who don't know their niche. Your offer isn't selling. You're not signing clients yet via organic yet. We talked about all this, not selling high ticket. You're very tight financially. If you're like, I need to make money tomorrow in this, it's not going to be the right fit for you. you're going to need to take a long-term approach here, which means zooming out from the day-to-day, looking at this as an investment, just like you would invest in your 401k, and you don't check it tomorrow and say, well, how much money did I make? The same thing applies for paid traffic. This is a long-term investment into growing your audience and creating more opportunities for you down the line. But those leads are going to take some time to warm up to you. This is not something that happens overnight. So if you are interested in applying for Limitless Leads, I'd love for you to join us. And I'd love to invite you to take that next step. There's a link on the screen below. Emily's going to share it in our chat as well. Just go to that page, jasonmoss.com/apply, and fill out that application. I want you to spend some time with those questions, by the way, because I read all these personally, and it really helps me figure out what your best next steps are and what's right for you. And my commitment to you, by the way, is you submit an application. Like, my number one job is just to help you figure out what you need to get to where you want to be. And sometimes that doesn't mean working together. That means, like, here, go sign up for this other program, or go, do something else. Like, I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to help you. And I know that might sound cliche, and some people say that. They don't really mean that. I really mean that. Like, we've got more than enough clients. We're super grateful. If this is right for you, I'd love to invite you on board, and I'd love for you to join us. And if not, I'll be honest with you, and I'll just let you know. Mention in the application that you came from this masterclass as well. After you submit an application, I'm going to review all these personally, and I'll reach out to you with your best next steps, and we can have a conversation about kind of what the details look like. And again, we'll figure out what's best for you. And by the way, super cool bonus, if you apply by this Friday, I'm also including, for those of you who do apply before Friday, a free personalized business strategy and plan if you do decide to enroll. What this is, by the way, this is something that I've only offered previously for our VIP one-to-one clients that invest at least 20 grand into working with me one-to-one. Basically, what it is, you're going to fill out like a survey with like a bunch of questions, and I'm going to take a look at your entire business in depth based on that survey, all of the different aspects of your business. And I'm going to put together a personalized roadmap and plan for you with specific guidance and feedback that will help you get more clients and close more deals as soon as possible. It's literally like having my brain in your business, having someone who can sit down with you and say, like, based on everything I'm seeing in your business, here are the 5 tweaks that you need to make in order to double your income over the next 90 days. Like, that's what this is. It's literally like a personalized plan for you. So if you do want to apply before Friday. And that way, if you do enroll in Limitless Leads, you'll get access to that for free. And full transparency, I'm probably not going to run this again. This is probably the only time that we'll do this. My intention for Limitless Leads is, once we actually run this, to take the recordings and we'll figure out something else to do with them. But this is not going to be one of those programs like we launch again and again and again. This is really like a one-time thing that I'm doing. I'm super excited about it right now. So if you're in that place where you're like, yes, I want to do this, I would recommend taking advantage of this, now, because it's probably not going to be a program that's launched again in the future. Or look, you could stay where you are. Many of you here will, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I also want to be real with you that we looked at this earlier. Like, organic reach is declining year after year. So what that means is, if you are, or our coach who's here, who's relying on organic marketing year after year after year, it's going to take more and more content in order to just get the same number of leads. It means more hours on social media, more time spent creating content, more time feeling frustrated and like you're chained to your desk or to your phone, and continuing to feel that frustration that comes from just having inconsistent leads and just not having that stability in your business, and not having that freedom that comes from having a lead generation system that's actually working for you. Trading your time or trading your money, instead of your time, so you can get off the grid and you cannot be like totally enmeshed in your business, and spend more time doing what you absolutely love and less time, creating content and dancing on reels and feeling like you're like a slave to Instagram all day. And finally, what does this really mean on the deepest level? This means that there are so many people out there, so many people who need your help, who could benefit from your life-changing wisdom and the work that you do, who are going to stay exactly where they are because you decided to too, because you decided to play it safe, or say, oh, that was an interesting masterclass and sounds interesting, but let me go click off to something else. And that's a choice that's yours to make. It's not just about you. It's also about all these people out there who won't get to benefit from the amazing work that you do because your marketing didn't do a good enough job reaching them. And I don't want that for you. And I also don't want that for all the potential clients that you're here to serve. And that's why I want to, really, really invite you into this. So the choice is yours. It's up to you. If you want to apply, there's the link, and I'd love for you to join us. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and a lot of coaches are going to experience some massive momentum and growth heading into 2024 because of this. So that's available to you. Link in the chat. And at this point, I want to go ahead and open things up for questions. So we have our amazing head of client success here. Her name's Emily Deeney. She's an awesome coach. She's been through Coaching Launchpad as well, our foundations program we talked about earlier. She's going to help me out a little bit with questions. So Emily, maybe I'd love for you to start by just kind of quickly introducing yourself, and then we can get to as many questions as you can as we can in the time that we have left. And if you do have questions, by the way, before I pass the baton over to Emily here, now would be a great time to ask those questions in the chat, and Emily's just going to pull questions, and these could be questions about limitless leads and also questions more about paid ads or just growing your coaching business in general, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can. So Emily, over to you.
Hey everybody, as Jason said, I'm Emily and I am our head of client success here, and so my job is really to work closely with all of our different clients to ensure that they have the support they need to be successful. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and kick off answering your questions. And so I have a few from ones you guys had already been submitting earlier, but if you want to go ahead and continue to add them in the chat, then I will go through. So the first one I had was Nina asked, how do you evaluate if your messaging is working or not? Simply measuring rate of views versus likes, engagement. What's the best way to know?
Well, the best way is, are you getting clients? So that's probably the best thing. But we talk about there are what we call leading indicators and lagging indicators. In other words, there are things that show up first before you might get the clients that let you know that you're on the right track. Those are what's called leading indicators. And then there are lagging indicators, things that show up later. Those are like when you sign a new client or you get a call. So when it comes to figuring out whether or not your messaging is doing a good job, the first thing you'll often see is you'll start seeing comments from people who are like, I feel like you're speaking to me directly. Or I feel like you're reading my diary. I feel like you're describing me so perfectly. And that's a pretty good indication that you've dialed in your messaging to the point, assuming those people that are commenting are the right people. You'll often start to see that. And that's the first thing that will let you know that you're on the right track. Because when we talk about this a lot inside Coaching Launchpad, messaging is really about holding up a mirror to your ideal clients. It's really about reflecting back their life and their circumstances to them, such depth and with a level of detail that when they see that, they go, wow, you are speaking to me directly. You're describing my life. This is what really good messaging does. That's the first thing that will show up. Typically, you'll start to see those comments and those people who are engaging with you in that way. And then obviously later on, you'll start to see people who are reaching out about your program or, applying to work with you or DMing you saying, hey, I'd love to explore working with you. Those things generally will show up a little bit after that. The other thing I just want to reiterate is when it comes to messaging and particularly with limitless leads, it's not that your messaging has to be perfect. It just has to be good enough that you've signed at least, a couple clients. I would say we're close enough in the right lane that it's roughly the words to use, that when you use those words, you can actually, see people who are coming in the door. So it's not that these things have to be perfect. They just need to be, close enough is kind of the bar for limitless leads in particular.
Great. Thanks, Jason. So our next one, Matt asked, could paid ads like this work with low ticket offers if that offer is a $47 a month membership? What are your thoughts on that?
They can. To be honest, I haven't had a ton of experience running paid traffic with lower ticket offers. And the thing that, so I think there's other people that can speak to this more so than I could. The thing to remember about paid traffic is you are in a marketplace when you're running ads. And what that means is that you're bidding for attention with all of the other people that are also in your niche, or all of the other people that are also trying to capture those same people that you're trying to speak to. And so if there are two business coaches out there, myself, maybe and someone else, and one person has an offer that they can only sell for $50 or something, even if it's a membership or something like that, versus someone like me who has a higher ticket offer that we can sell for 5K or 10K or something like that, I can spend a lot more to acquire a new lead, which means that ads get a little bit more expensive for everyone. Because if I'm willing to spend more because I can make more on the back end, that means that Facebook is much more likely to take my money than they are to take yours. Most coaches out there who are, succeeding at some level of scale, most of them are running higher ticket programs. It means that if you are running a lower ticket program and running ads on a lower ticket program, oftentimes lead costs are going to be too expensive. It's not going to be profitable for you to run ads to a lower ticket offer like that. Not always, but in many cases, you'll find that you'll just struggle to get something to be profitable. Versus if you do have a higher ticket offer, it's much easier to actually to set up and to run profitable ads. So that's the main reasons why we recommend having a high ticket offer if you are running paid traffic. Hopefully that makes sense.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. So then Trevin asked, so if you spend $5,000 and only get 1 or 2 leads that may or may not become sales, do you keep doing ads, or kind of what's going on there?
Well, chances are you're not going to spend if you spend $5,000 and only get 2 leads, something's wrong. We're going to get lots and lots of leads for like $5,000, which is going to give us lots and lots of opportunities to test. And most of the leads that we bring into our business don't actually buy anything from us. So maybe we get like 100 leads and maybe like 1 or 2 of them actually sign up for anything. But point being, it's not going to be a situation like that where the volume is so low that you're not going to have enough to test with. Like $5,000 is like, just for context, our lead costs today are, it costs us about $5 to acquire a new lead into our business. So that means for $5,000, we can get like 1,000 leads for that budget.
Awesome. So then Camille asked, when you say lead, do you mean getting an email address, or does lead mean a paid client? How do we define lead based on what you're talking about?
It's a good question. When I'm saying lead, what I'm really referring to is like an email subscriber, and like a qualified email subscriber, like someone who has seen the ad and we know that they're like a coach because they've clicked the ad that talks about coaches, and they, put in their email to download the guide for coaches. In my case, obviously your niche is going to be very different. So it's not just like a random person, but someone who we can say with a high degree of confidence is like in your niche. That's what I would consider like a lead in this case.
And then Naomi asked, how often do you send an email for nurturing? Also, can I just have an email list and no Facebook group? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we recommend, in our business today, we send emails 3 times a week. And this is something we just ran like a whole email marketing training inside Coach and Launchpad. And we talked a lot about this because people are like, wow, 3 times a week, that sounds like a lot. Here's the thing about the frequency in terms of communicating with people. The more times you communicate with someone, the faster somebody gets to a place where they either love you or they hate you. And this is exactly what we want when it comes to marketing. Like, I want people to sign up to my email list and like 3 days in be like, this guy sucks, unsubscribe. What I don't want is for somebody to hang out in limbo for like 3 months where they have no opinion of me because they haven't heard from me enough to actually form an opinion. And that doesn't do them any good, and it doesn't do me any good. So our philosophy on email is we actually, like, our volume is pretty high. And because of that, people get to a place pretty quickly where they're like, either I love everything that Jason's talking about, I feel like this is really relevant for me and my business, or this is not for me and I unsubscribe. And that's great for us. So I would recommend, higher frequency. 3 times is a good place to start. You could do more than that too. And then the second question was, do I need a Facebook group? You don't need a Facebook group for this. We will be teaching inside Limitless Leads. And this is kind of an optional piece of our method that we'll be teaching inside Limitless Leads, is setting up the Facebook group. The reason I really like the Facebook group when it comes to pairing that with paid ads is because whenever somebody comes into your Facebook group, you can send them a DM and you can have a conversation with them. And so in the early days, when I was setting up my ads, I would reach out to all the people who were coming in to those ads and joining our Facebook group, and I just have conversations with them. And number one, that allowed me to figure out really quickly, like, are those people that those ads are bringing in, like, are they the right people? And so it helped me tweak the messaging and the ads and really refine things more quickly. And the second thing is it allowed me to turn those leads into sales calls and clients a lot faster, because I could have a conversation with someone and figure out what they needed and then just hop on a call with them and sign them on board as a client, which is why the first month in our business when we started running ads was profitable. Like, our first month, I think we spent, I wish I had the numbers. Unfortunately, I don't have the spreadsheet anymore. I was trying to find this for you guys, but the first month when I launched in May of of 2022 with paid traffic, I think we spent like $800 and we made like $6,000 from new clients. And it was because I was doing this. I was just reaching out to all these people who were joining our Facebook group and just booking calls based on those conversations. And so that can be a great way of accelerating the process of becoming profitable with paid traffic, which is why we teach it. And it's why Inside Limitless Leads will show you how to do that. Now, it's up to you whether or not you want to do that. Some people might say, I don't want a Facebook group. I'd rather just keep it with email. That's fine if you just want to do it with email. It's just harder to figure out, are your ads attracting the right people? And it takes a little bit longer for those leads to start to become like sales calls and clients if you do it that way.
Right. So similar to that one, let's see, Sydney D says, do you have any recommendations for an alternative to Facebook for hosting a community group?
Not in particular. I still think Facebook is the best place to be for like a public group. If you're talking about like a client group where someone's actually signed up to work with you, I think that there's other platforms, like I've seen Telegram, people use Telegram or Slack, or there's some other things we've had our clients use that work. But in terms of a public group, what you want to do is you want to minimize the friction that somebody needs to go through in order to sign up and engage in that group. And so I see a lot of people who are trying to like run public groups on like Telegram, but like someone has to go download the app and they have to like sign up and create an account, and then they got to like check the app on their phone. And it's so complicated versus everyone's on Facebook. I sign on Facebook, I'm going to see notifications from your group, which means I'm much more likely to engage. So we still run even our client groups, we still run on Facebook groups because I've just found personally, it's easier to get people to engage when you show up and create something that's in a place that they already are.
Wonderful. And then Apiku asks, and there are a few parts to this question, for someone who is into intercultural coaching, would this benefit them? And so I asked a few follow-up questions, and it sounds like Abiku is kind of still navigating the beginning stages with their niche and figuring out what exactly their niche is struggling with.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to know exactly what that means, like intercultural coaching. I mean, I think that if someone's on Facebook, like you're going to be able to reach them through paid traffic. So pretty much everyone's on Facebook. It's just a matter of getting clear on who those people are. And it sounds like Abiku, that's your first step right now. So, we have a really great free video on our YouTube channel. If you search, for those of you who are wanting help getting clear on your niche, I think it's like how to find your niche as a life coach or something like that. There's a free video that we have on our YouTube channel that walks through a step-by-step process to help you with that. Sounds like that would be a good next step for you. And if you're wanting more help with this is also something that we walk through inside Coach and Launchpad, our foundations program for newer coaches, which, if you are in those early stages of your journey, I think that would be an absolute awesome next step for you.
Right. And then we have another question about Facebook groups. So it's either Malin or Malin, I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, says, I have a big Facebook group, but it's dead. Should I start a new one or try to get it going again?
I think you can just pick up where you left off and you can do some re-engagement in the group. And there's some tools too that will allow you to like clean out old group members. Forget the name. I'm blanking on the name of there's like a tool that will allow you to like scan all of your posts, and basically based on the people who are engaging and the people who aren't engaging, it will show you like who are your inactive members, and you can like remove those from the group. So doing something like that and then just starting to show up and creating new content, I don't think you need to start over from scratch. I mean, if you wanted to, you could, but I'm always like, people always ask this question too with like starting their business. They're like, well, should I start like a new profile and just start over? And, if I've been like, if I have an Instagram profile that's more of like my friends right now, should I not use that? And I'm like, no, let's start where you are today. Because a lot of the times there are people in those communities that we don't even think about that, maybe a lot of them aren't engaging, but there are probably a lot of people there that they're also really interested in what you're doing. And so we want to start by building on what you've already created versus, throwing out the baby with the bathwater in most cases. That would be my recommendation.
Great. Then Lisa asks, how much nurturing do people really need? Are there people who have been aware of your business for a while that sign up years later, or do most people tend to sign up fairly quickly to work with you?
So the answer is both. Like there are people, one of my mentors calls it like the fast lane and the slow lane. I like this analogy. It's like you've got people in the fast lane who they are already aware that they have a problem. They're already in a high degree of pain. They want a solution. They might see an ad of yours and then they're already so close to being like, I just need help. I want to make a change, that they really don't need much warming up. And on the other hand, there are people who are more like curious and they're more like, maybe they're somewhat problem aware, but they're going to need like probably months of nurturing and warming up to you. So I think the key is you kind of got to have like both things, both lanes in your business. I think it's good to have a place that people can go where they're like, if they're ready, great. And then we also want to make sure that we're nurturing and building those relationships with people who aren't. And I can tell you personally, like a lot of clients who sign up to work with us inside our programs have been on my email list for 3 months or 6 months. They've signed up for, maybe our lower ticket marketing workshop. And then, they end up bumping up to Coaching Launchpad later on down the line. I think it really depends on the person. I also think it depends on what's going on in our broader world and our kind of climate. And generally with where we're headed, especially over the next couple of years, I think nurturing is going to become more important because people are going to be, the bar in terms of buying decisions is going to be a little bit higher than I think it has been in the past with everything that's happening, with the economy. Generally, when, money is not as like free flowing, people get a little bit more conservative in terms of how they're making decisions, which means they're going to want to see more of you. They're going to want to build more of that relationship with you before they feel comfortable and safe taking that leap. So all of this being said, I think nurturing is going to become more important than ever, and really taking that long-term view and approach is it's always been important, but I think it's going to be more important than it ever has been, kind of moving through the next 12 to 18 months.
Great. And then we have, I think, just one final question, which was, now we have another one, but I'll go to the first one. So do you suggest progressing on a certain path with creating free, like organic content versus landing page things versus a Facebook group? Like, is there, a certain path there, or are there also like certain things that you should have in place from the start when you're beginning your coaching journey?
It's hard to answer that question without knowing where this specific person is at in their journey. And one of the things that we believe in terms of marketing is there's not like a cookie cutter formula. Like in Coaching Launchpad, as an example, what we do is we put together like a customized marketing plan for you. So you go through Coaching Launchpad, you fill out a survey based on your strengths and things that you're passionate about in your specific niche. Like certain niches, as an example, like a public group can be a really great idea. But other niches, like I work with coaches who are, like example, I'm thinking my client, Andrea, who helps people who are at their careers who are unhappy and they really want to leave their job and they're just not feeling like, they're feeling kind of burned down and they want to find either more fulfilling work or they want to quit their job and start their own thing. And that person, the last thing they want to do is be seen like publicly with that challenge, especially because, if they're on LinkedIn or something like that, and you're showing up on LinkedIn, it's like, who's on LinkedIn? Well, all their colleagues and all of their, friends and employer. So in that case, like having a public group for that niche doesn't make any sense. And so a lot of it really depends on you. It depends on your niche. It depends on your strengths. Like there are some forms of marketing that are going to make a lot of sense for you that might not make sense for other people. And so I think it's more of like a customized approach, and it's more personalized in terms of how we work with clients and how we help people with that. It's really more tailored than it is like, here's the step-by-step of exactly what it is supposed to look like for every single person who gets started on their coaching business.
Great. Okay. We have one or two more that Naomi asked, but sure. How often do we engage in the Facebook group? And kind of similarly to that, do people find it annoying on Facebook when you message them directly? So kind of different questions, but both related to Facebook.
Yeah. So in terms of engaging on like the Facebook group, what we do is there's no like number. I would say generally with organic, like the more times you post, the better. It really is like a volume game. What we do is we have, one piece of content going out a day on each of our organic platforms. So that includes our Facebook group. You can do more than that. You can do less than that. It kind of just depends. In terms of, do people find it annoying? Some people do. I mean, I think the thing about ads in particular, when you've opted in to download a guide and now you're in someone's Facebook group and they send you a message, you've on some level given permission to engage in that person, with that person. So it's not the same as you just sending like a cold DM to somebody who has no idea who you are on Instagram or something like that. What I found is, with paid traffic in particular, people are much more open to engaging because they've opted in to that experience, because they've chosen to put in their email address and download the guide and to be involved and engaged in that way. So, you're going to get much less pushback from something like that. And again, a lot of this is like the approach that you use. Like, I want to be clear with like cold DMs, like what we teach is so different from what 95% of the people out there, I think, are using. It's much more relational. It's much more heart-centered. It's not like one of those things you just get like a message from someone that's like, hey, for, $10,000, I can help you with this, this, and this, ready to go, like reply and I'll get you on my calendar. Like, I hate stuff like that. And it just doesn't even work that well, honestly, either. So I think a lot of this is about the approach that we use. And of course, we teach a lot of the details about how to do that inside our various programs, including Limitless Leads. You'll get all of that inside there as well. So you can take advantage of that to start to create more traction and quicker traction in terms of monetizing the leads that you bring in from your ads.
Great. And then Rosie asks, I'm just starting out as a ketogenic coach. My niche is weight loss and healing. Do I still have to wait to do paid ads if I haven't met all the beginning steps?
I think the most important thing is that you understand who your people are, that you understand. It drives me nuts when Zoom does this, by the way. I've been talking about this, like the weird thumbs up thing. I don't know why they do that now. I got to figure out how to turn that off. So most important thing is that you understand who your people are, that you've got an offer that ideally that you've sold. So you've got like proof of concept, and that you have some sense of like what those challenges are that those people are experiencing, so you can create ads that really pull them in. In most cases, I'm going to recommend, like majority of cases, if you're someone who's new, who's just getting started in your business, I think you're better off spending some time developing the foundations of your business using organic marketing first. I just think it's going to be a better way for you to test like the foundations and get those kind of solidly in place before you scale with paid traffic. There are times when I'll say, for certain people, it's okay to kind of bypass those foundations. Generally, like as an example, if someone's had a lot of experience working with a specific niche and maybe, they haven't done organic marketing, but they've been like doing in-person work for a while and they really understand like their people, and so they can and they've got an offer that maybe they've sold like locally or something like that. That might be a case where someone can bypass some of those steps. But in most cases, I'm going to recommend, for you get started with organic marketing first, and it'll be a better long-term move for you.
Great. I think that's all the questions that we have, unless I missed somebody, but
cool.
That's all I'm seeing.
Great job, Emily. Thank you as always. Emily is like my partner in crime on these things. And it's always so nice to have you here, Emily. And I want to remind everybody who's here with me live or watching the replay that, let's actually, Emily, if you want to share the link again in the chat here, I'll put it up on the screen again. So if you are interested in applying for Limitless Leads or Coaching Launchpad, by the way, if you're just wanting help launching your coaching business too, if you're maybe not ready for paid traffic yet, either way, go to this page here, jasonmoss.com/apply, fill out that form, and I'll reach out to you personally with those next steps. And again, if you apply before Friday, you'll get that free personalized business strategy and plan. This is for Limitless Leads specifically, so not for Coaching Launchpad. We do some other personalized plans and things inside there that you'll get access to too. But you'll get that if you decide to enroll. And I hope you decide to join us. I'm so excited to share this and kick this off. This has been something that's been on my mind for so long, and it's been such a game changer for me and my business. And I know for the right person who's watching this, who's ready to take these next steps with paid traffic, it's gonna be an awesome opportunity for you too. So I'll see you guys on the inside. And you know where to reach me. If you do have any questions, by the way, you can also shoot me an email at jason@jasonmoss.com. It's my personal email, and happy to bounce back and forth with you there too. And until then, I hope you enjoyed this free live training. And hey, if you love this video, you're definitely going to love that one too. So click the link on the screen to go check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.